Windbreaker, an anime that I wrote off as just another corny battle shonen. But when season 2 dropped, I tried it again. Call me a wiener, but I cried a lot. The protagonist Sakura is so well written. He's a sensitive misfit, scarred by his past. Stubborn, socially awkward, lashes out at people, and yet you can't help but root for him. For clarity's sake, I am talking about the manga Windbreaker, not the manhwa with bikes. Windbreaker's the one with parentless delinquents, doing God knows what at school, and admittedly cool fights. For how silly the setting is, it contains surprisingly real characters. Sakura's world, though vivid, begins in a tragic place. His inner thoughts represent an emotional tightrope. He's headed somewhere, but is doing it alone and can't afford to fall. His apartment's run down, bland, and empty. He doesn't care. He's got no one to share it with anyways. He's got little reason to trust people and is truly alone. Is it life he dreads, or just another day of having to deal with people that suck? We're left to wonder what's keeping him going. But Sakura ain't no bitch. He gets dressed and heads out. Out there, he proclaims, "I love the strong, got no interest in the weak." Seconds later, he takes out some weaklings that were cornering our best girl, Kotoha. Kotoha catches Sakura to thank him for stepping in. He's got no experience with accepting gratitude, so naturally he's awkward about it, like he's panicking being pulled over by the nice police. He outright rejects her thanks. Strange behavior, but Kotoha manages to wrangle him into her diner. He's offered a free meal, warm, hot, and homemade. She's even chatting with him casually as she prepares his meal. He still thinks it's a setup. Sakura finally gets set off when she compliments his eyes, so he squares up. The only time people comment on Sakura's looks is to ridicule him. Kindness is a foreign language. He only speaks with his fist. It shows when he runs into the gang again, in bigger numbers and with weapons this time. They trash the town and start belittling Sakura and his looks. He's brutally reminded of his reality, being met with scorn. This is the normal and deserved treatment for him. Kotoha's kindness from a moment ago was just a fluke. As an outsider, Sakura wholeheartedly believes that he doesn't even have a place in this world, and so he forcefully carves his name through violence. Sakura fights like a raid boss. He had to become strong, out of survival. Admitting defeat to a bunch of mean lowlives is accepting that he's worthless. As someone who's outnumbered, he fights flexibly, reactive, and on his guard. He can't even afford to make any mistake. No one's watching his back. He doesn't need anybody as he mops the floor against the goons, but it feels like an empty win, like beating up grade schoolers because they're annoying as fuck. You don't feel good about it, but you need to shut them up somehow, know what I'm saying? So what is he sad about? He lights up when he talked to Kotoha. It was the only time he seemed alive, proud, certain of who he was. His goal was clear, fight his way to the top. But the street fight tells a different story. It didn't feel like passion, but rather hatred. Winning brought no joy nor fulfillment. His strength, the thing he trusted the most, was just a tool that he used for battle. That's when Kotoha's words cut deep. You'll never reach the top since you're alone. To Sakura, it hits a nerve. She isn't just calling him weak. She's denying the one thing that gives him an identity. His strength that protected him in a world that ostracized him. And she's right. Even though he's strong, he's crumbling inside. If fighting doesn't give him worth, then what exactly is he fighting for? This is what's neat about Sakura's duality. A lot of what he says doesn't match his behavior. He's guarded in his words, but a guardian in his actions. Earlier, by his own words, Sakura said he had no interest in the weak. Physically, Kotoha is weak. Sakura shouldn't have any interest in her, but his true character reveals when he faces a dilemma. Going back to the fight, Kotoha is captured in the mess, and the fight is more than just Sakura at that point. He has to make a decision, fight for himself, or protect her and risk his own safety. It's a vital decision that tests his priorities for the first time. But here's the truth. He's a natural protector. His body moves before his mind. He instinctively runs headfirst towards Kotoha to save her. So as hollow as he feels, Sakura's a softie with a big heart, though he'd never admit it. He's as honest as they come. Sakura's extremely strong-willed. He knows what he stands for due to an attuned moral compass. He believes in fairness and protecting others. It pisses him off when he sees the injustice of bullies who prey on those who can't fight back. He challenges them regardless of the odds. He would rather be beat down than betray his own values. It's what keeps him guided in a world that distorts him. Unfortunately, he's not invincible. He gets stabbed. Luckily, the Bofrin squad is there to save him. Sakura prides himself on being strong enough to only rely on himself. When he needs to be bailed out, that's shame punishable by death. In his own mind, admitting that he's not good enough alone? Sounds dramatic, but it's understandable. Sakura hardened himself out of survival. It's not easy for him to depend on others, especially to take care of something that he thought he could handle. But watching Bofrin fight, he recognizes something profound. Friendship. Beating people up. Jokes aside, it's the power of friendship trope done right. Bofrin are cheered for their violence. They declare a pretty badass mantra. But for your own immersion, imagine that I'm yelling loudly in a deep voice. Anyone past this point who causes pain, who brings destruction, who holds evil in their heart, will be purged by Bofrin without exception. Those were the exact words that Sakura needed to hear. The image of Furin that he initially had, a bunch of lawless delinquents, it couldn't be further from the truth. The cracks in Sakura's armor begin to show. Underneath his bravado, Sakura is deeply insecure from his upbringing, being recognized as a monster. As a byproduct of his loneliness, he needed strength to survive. But Bofrin shattered his illusion of what true strength meant, connecting with others by protecting them from evil, the very ones that made fun of him. To him, it feels unreal, like heroes in fiction, but for the first time, he sees someone worth becoming. For Sakura, growth is an ordeal. He's got a good idea of who he is, someone who can stand alone even if it hurts. He just hasn't embodied it into something more meaningful beyond himself. In Bofrin's clash with Shishitorin, Sakura faces Joe Togame, who at first is depicted as what Sakura despises, someone who bullies the weak. As they fight, Joe looks down on Sakura for talking big behind the backing of his crew, which pierces his wounds again. No one knows better than Sakura himself the adversity of isolation, not by choice. Those same obstacles forge his conviction. He refuses to bend to false strength. That refusal is exactly what shifts the fight. While he's choosing to prove his strength, it isn't the only reason. He's being intentional with what he stands for, which is with Bofrin. Quite frankly, I'm with him. The Furin school is a bunch of badasses. Sakura firmly believes in their cause, protection and connection. As simple as that. No one asked Sakura to participate. He could have stayed behind. That's conviction, carrying responsibility he doesn't have to, simply because he refuses to let cruelty go unanswered. It's like a job. You can clock in, do the minimum work, and collect your paycheck. Or you can care enough to go the extra mile, making sure the mission and the people are successful and supported. Sakura takes his conviction even further. He even has the integrity to extend that grace to Joe. Mid-fight, Sakura realizes Joe isn't the cruel bully he assumed. Joe admits Shishitorin are scumbags, and Sakura can't understand why someone that strong would follow them. But then it clicks. Joe isn't rotten. He's afraid. He's only playing the role of a villain, the same way Sakura plays tough to hide vulnerability. Sakura sees his own reflection in Joe, beginning to respect him. Hell, he literally tries to beat some sense into Joe. Sakura's motive goes from winning a fight to connecting with an opponent. There's meaning to his fists as a means to connect, rather than isolate. That's growth. Sakura, a boy that believed he was meant to stand alone, now shows sparks of leadership, conviction, humility, and connection. He's still imperfect, but shows humility in defining what he truly stands for. As he figures out who he wants to be, his wounds don't just go away. They slowly fade into scars as proof that he's becoming someone greater. And in his journey, he reminds us we've all got something to work on. So yeah, Windbreaker moved me to tears. Life is complex. It's not easy. Far from it. Nobody asks for misfortune, but it finds you anyway. Some have it rougher than others. You can grieve over that, but that's not what the tears should be for. Sakura resonates with me because of his wounds and flaws. Not as weaknesses, but as the roots of his growth. Instead of being chained to his past, he chooses to break free and walk forward. And that's why I cry. Because life is hard. And sometimes we want to turn away from it. But there are people who make it worth facing. People who show you what it means to live with compassion. And when you learn to embody your own truth, it brings a peace and clarity that words can't fully capture.